Hello everyone, welcome back to Grow Leafy. I am here at my truck getting my high nitrogen chicken poop, and I've got my wheelbarrow because I need to go and get some dry leaves for carbon. And if you are interested in composting, please watch this video. If you have not seen my composting playlist, there's a list of videos that I've made just over the past couple of years with what I use for composting, what type of materials I use, and then also I use a Geobin. So if you're interested in that, you could drop the word compost in the comments and I'll send you the link to that, or just look at my description, or just watch the video and look for a link. And then you can find out about getting a Geobin for yourself, because it's been very awesome, convenient. They're easy to put together, take apart. Make sure you watch those videos so you can see how I set them up. I have 3 Geobins, and right now I'm going to consolidate 2 of them because they decomposed a lot, bring them together. So I've got this, I need to go and get some brown material. And just to quickly talk about chicken poop is very high in nitrogen, and you need both brown for carbon and nitrogen, which are your green materials, which would be like your chicken poop, or if you're using manure. Those are very high, very, very high. A lot of times I just use kitchen scraps or grass clippings that are fresh, but right now I'm not getting grass clippings because it is middle winter. Yeah, that's not happening. So I'm going with the chicken poop, but it's gonna help because it's very high and it gets very hot, so it's gonna be great for this winter month. And then also, you're gonna need brown material. So I'm gonna go and get some leaves so that I have the brown material. And if you don't have any of that, you can also use paper, cardboard, or anything like that for brown materials. And there's a bunch of other brown materials. Maybe I'll drop even a list for you also that you have that. So come along with me so you can learn how to do it too. Let's go. I always use my lawnmower or leaf blower to suck up leaves. So much easier, it's faster. But with all that rain, this is so sticky and there's a lot of muddy areas. This is gonna have to work. It's gonna take me a little bit longer, but you know, you just use what you have. At least I've got leaves here. The reason why I like using a lawnmower is because it also chips it up, especially the leaf blower. Chips it up, breaks it up into smaller pieces, which is a lot easier for the decomposing. Really prevents it from compacting, because you know how leaves, if you're familiar with how leaves kind of operate, they can get compacted. But I haven't really had that issue in my compost. But then again, they were chipped up and broken up into smaller pieces. This is another good reason for not getting rid of your leaves in the fall. You get to use them throughout the winter time. This is how you know when your wood chip's breaking down lovely. You see how it crumbles so easy? That's great. So this is already decomposing. Whatever this was, it just breaks apart really easy. This is really great to help aggregate the soil and creating that soil structure. You know, that's what you're looking for. That's called beauty. Another thing I want to show you is just look at these fungi. Like when you see things like this, you're like, oh no, what is that? Now, I can't tell you what kind it is, not one to eat. This is just what I'm just trying to show you, that when wood or organic matter start to break down, you will start to see different things on it. It starts breaking down, and the fungi, the bacteria are really eating this up. This is really good sign that it's decomposing, it's breaking down, and this is wonderful. It's great for the ground, it's great for the earth, and it's decomposing. So very similar, that's what's happening in your compost, is that it's breaking down and decomposing. These are the 2 composts I'm going to be consolidating, and I keep that tarp on there to just kind of control the moisture because we've had a lot of rain, but it doesn't sit on properly. I probably need to get a bigger one. And then that other mesh one just really, it keeps little squirrels, little animals from getting in there. And then there's this one, same thing. All right, and this will be my way to mix it from the grocery store. Just things like this, paper bags. You can use that as your carbon as well. When you go to the grocery store, don't throw that stuff away, use it. And if you want to just kind of soften it up, you can just leave it on the ground and let the water get to it and it will soften it up so it's easier to rip up. This first compost has a lot of wood chips in here, so you can use that as well for brown material. But we had a lot of wood chips on one of my friend's property, and so I was able to use that. And so it was first initially filled up at the top, and that's how much of a drop down that it has made. And then this one even more. Look at all that. This one was primarily used, let's see, I used a lot of leaves in this one, so it even broke down even more, and it's went down significantly. So I'm really hoping that I'll be able to take a lot of this and put that into there, consolidate the two, add the chicken manure, what I'm going to do, and it's in here. And I even have more leaves if I need any more. All right, there we go. So easy to take off. And then when you're ready, you put it all back. See the layers of the breakdown. You can see I had grass clipping there. You can see it's not ready yet. It's not fully broken down, but it's breaking down. It's darkening up right here. That's good. So there's still a lot of brown material in here. Doing good, but it's breaking down. Here's the chicken poop from my friend's chicken coop. First, I'm gonna grab some of this. Gosh, that stinks. Stinky, but good. I'm gonna drop it in here. The other one, and mix it and bring it over. So the good thing about this is that it gives me the ability and the chance to now turn this compost. This compost right here on my right side, I had already did some turning the other day because I knew I was going to do this. Actually did it yesterday. So somewhat already turned. So this is going to be good to mix these two together. So even though it's winter time, look what's just in here. See these worms? They are working in the compost. These worms are amazing. I love it. Every winter I come out here, and when I have to flip and turn it, this is what's doing a lot of that work. And that's wonderful because that poop that the worms have is now the worm casting. And that's really good as well, and adds a lot of nutrition back into there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to spend time mixing this all together. It's kind of hard to just turn a mix. If I really wanted to really mix the two together, I could lay out a big tarp. I do not have the energy to do that, I'll be honest. But yes. Life of the worms. And look, you see that? See that? It's turning all black. This is what we are wanting to happen. That's a great thing. All that turning to black is a great sign that it's breaking down. So that's a good thing. I feel like there's a lot of brown material in here because the majority of these composts were filled at the beginning of fall with leaves, because that's what we had, was so many leaves. So I'm not going to need a lot of the leaves that I initially had scooped up today. Biggest thing to think about is the smell. If it stinks, which this stinks because it's fresh, but if it stinks continually, then you know your compost is anaerobic, and you need to add some more brown material to balance that out. Anaerobic is when probably there's no oxygen in there and not much getting in. It's maybe very mushy, muggy, so there's no real good aeration, circulation. And so then that's really when it gets smelly. Then it tells you that you have too much nitrogen in your compost and that you need to add more brown material to balance that out. So just add the brown material. If you notice that you have too much carbon, brown material, rich materials, then and there's no maybe moisture getting to it, there's not enough nitrogen getting to it, then you'll notice that it won't really decompose and it will just stay kind of dry. Maybe it's not getting moisture, so you have to make sure that you do that too. And so like there's some spots in here that I can see where it's really rich, then there's some spots like really around the edges that I know that's still kind of dry. You see that? And so that's why turning it really helps. It really helps to mix it up, bring in that aeration, bring in that oxygen, bring in that circulation that is needed for the compost. And then you either have to add nitrogen or bound material, and you just kind of like bounce back and forth with that until you get the balance. You may have to throw in nitrogen or carbon, and you just keep doing that until you find the balance that is working well for the compost. Sprouts. I don't know what sprouted, what it is. Oh, there, it fell. But turning it, this is why that helps, because it gets rid of things like that. I don't want another plant growing in my compost. Some people don't mind that. They really don't. I mind it. My purpose of the compost is to have compost, not to have a plant in it. It's rich enough for things to be sprouting and growing, but it also tells me that it's also not hot enough. It needs to be hotter so that those things will not germinate, and so if there's any seeds in there, that they will die off. Because you really want to have your weeds, if you have any weed seeds in there or grass seeds in there, you don't want that growing in there. Now, I really haven't had that issue, but it does happen a little bit in just certain areas. Look at that, all those wood chips. Oh, look, and I don't know if you can't see, but in the wood chips, I don't know if you can see, but there are roly-polies in there. So normally I find the roly-polies they're usually working those wood chips. I can tell. I usually sometimes have wood chips at the bottom, but anyways, that's where they're hanging out. And I can now lift this, start dumping some of this in here. Put that out. This one is finished, and this one is empty. All those leaves that I raked up, right, I'm not using them in this compost because I really want this compost to just kind of stay at the pace that it's already at. And if I add in a lot more leaves into it, it's just gonna prolong it. If I feel like it needs it, I will pay attention by the way this compost smells. So if it's not smelling right, if it's smelling a little too anaerobic, and I need to add in some more browns, I will go ahead and do that then. But I do have this other compost that I can use all those leaves, and I can put them in there and get that started, and even add a little chicken poop to that. And the other thing is that I can leave the leaves and just even start a little leaf mulch in some black garbage bags. So there's just a couple of things that you can use the leaves for. It's multi-purpose, and it's pretty wonderful to use when especially you're really trying to create some organic compost for your garden. That's it. I'm finished. I'm cold and I'm done. And this is looking good. The only thing I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to just cover it with the mesh because I'm getting a lot of rain. And so since it's not summer, I'm not watering it to add in that moisture. I'm just going to allow the rain to rain into it. So you want to just squeeze it to test it, to see if it's got enough moisture, see if it's soaking like a sponge. See, this is gathering together pretty well, but I do want it to give a good rain on it since we added in that chicken poop. And then once it's done and I feel like it's moistured well, I'm gonna cover it with the tarp as well, which will hopefully add in a little bit more insulation because it gets so cold and freezing temperatures here. And so I'm ready to go in and maybe drink some lemongrass or something like that. If you really like these videos, interact with me. Give me a thumbs up, a like, subscribe to this channel if you have not done so. And it just really helps my page when you really interact with me, and it continues to send these videos out to more people and to you on your notifications. But remember to grow, eat, and self-care, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.